Hello, it is Krystalracquel and I am back again with another video for today. Today is day 4 of the 21 days of change, and the 21 days of change includes exercising daily as well as having an eating window from 12 p.m. till 10 p.m. max. So even if you start eating at 12 p.m., if you want to close out that window at 8 p.m., that's completely up to you, but I chose something that I felt both myself and you all will be able to do without too much trouble. Although today I did my exercises in the evening and I found that I was very thirsty, but I couldn't drink anything because we are fasting. And of course, prayer. So it's exercising and prayer. That's the two main things of this 21 days of change. So it's been going really well and I hope it's been going well with you. And as I've been saying, if for some reason you are not or you're just seeing this video after it's already started, that's completely fine. Just join it. You know, they do say that it takes 21 days to start a new habit, so I feel really good just doing that exercise. And it can be 20 minutes of exercise. That would be like a dance workout. I love to dance, so I typically do dance workouts at least 20 minutes. Or you can also do a walk, and if you're going to do a walk, let it be at least 30 minutes. Start at your own pace. Even if you're going to have to walk slow, that's completely fine. You know, when I was consistently walking or running on a treadmill last year, I found that if I walked super slow, it was fine. I just walked longer. Like I would walk so slow, maybe 2 miles per hour. And I would do that for an hour and a half. And then by the hour and a half, yeah, I was sweating. So, you know, just do what works for you. Or if you even need to walk really slow for 30 minutes, that's completely fine as well. So once again, feel free to subscribe. I appreciate everyone who's been joining and watching the videos. If you have any video topics, let me know. That's what I'm here for. I want to be able to speak to anything that may be of concern to you or anything that you've been seeing or hearing in your friend group or within your family or relationships. I am more than happy to answer them. You can always put a comment in the comment section or feel free to send me an email. My email is included. Yes. So the topic for today, make sure you like my video as well. If you like it, that helps me know what are the topics that are of most interest to you. So the topic for today is going to be dating older men. I know that among ladies, depending on, well, am I gonna do that topic today? There's another topic that's coming to mind too, but yes, we're gonna focus on that one today, dating older men. So what I find is that a lot of younger ladies, well, when we're really young, like in our late teens, early 20s, we kind of sometimes feel like we have to expand our horizons in terms of dating people who are older than us. And we think that maybe even not in our early 20s, in our mid 20s, late 20s, it's like 30, early 30s, we think maybe it's time to date somebody who's older, someone who, you know, has more knowledge, they're going to be more mature. And we start looking, you know, thinking that we're on the same level as a man who's older than us. And in reality, not that I'm older, I'm almost in my mid 30s, not mid 30s yet. Well, yeah, I probably am. But really, we start looking like, okay, like, you know, we're on the same level. We think we're so mature. And maturity, that's why in the Bible it talks about, you know, the older people being wise. Wisdom a lot of times comes from experience. So if you've never been in certain situations before, you're not gonna be able to react to those situations easily. And you know, when I was a babe or a child, you know, you think you speak like a child, and when you're an adult, older, you should speak more like an adult, right? So pretty much I want to let you all know that, you may think you're so mature, and you may be mature. I'll be honest, I've always been pretty mature for my age. So in my mid 20s, I would have friends, female friends that were like 40. And, I can think I'm so mature, but I'm here to tell you, grass is not always green on the other side. We can think we want somebody who's older, but there's so many different factors that are going to be in play. So let's say you meet someone, let's say you want to marry somebody who's older. And yes, Boaz was older than Ruth, much older, but that was just and based on how it was described, that wasn't really the norm. Boaz, I believe he was so happy and he felt so thankful that she even considered him rather than somebody who was within her own age range, somebody who was younger. So basically she saw beyond a lot of things, and I guess she saw that he could provide for her. He was gonna be her redeemer to help her and Naomi, who was her previous mother-in-law. So I say all this to say, ladies, it's a different ball game, because we think that, okay, an older person, they're going to be more stable. Yes, in reality, an older man should be more stable. So I would hope that somebody who's 50, a man who's 50 is going to be more financially stable than a man who's 20 or 18. However, there's so many different things. The first thing that comes to my mind is when you're aging, going through those normal age processes, there's going to be a difference. So I'm just going to fast forward all the way to the end of life. Let's just assume you all are eating well, eating healthily, and he's going to be, let's say you married him, you were 20 and he was 40. Okay, that's completely fine if that's what you want, but let's just fast track this thing. Of course, you could end up passing sooner than he. However, if you're 20, when we fast forward to the end of life, let's say he's 95 when you're 75. That's kind of a difference in terms of energy level. And let's go a little bit younger, and let's imagine that he is 50 and you're 30. There's a difference there. He's starting to not want to do as much. He's getting a little bit tired, weaker, and even if he's healthy, he's still going to have a different energy level than you, assuming you're both active and things like that. Then let's fast track forward a little bit again. Let's say he's 70, you're 50. That again is a difference. I know my mom when she was 50, and I remember her energy level. She was pretty energetic at 50. And then I look at one of my aunts, and she's just turned 70, and it's a big difference. So that is a huge difference. Yes, I just described two women, but a man and a woman, it's going to be pretty similar. So 70 and 50, yeah, that's big. 50 is the new 40. I think that's where there's going to be a difference when someone is beyond the 50 mark. And I would say 40 and 60, yeah, that's also a huge difference. Like I said, when one person's beyond that 50 mark, that is a huge difference. You're going to feel completely different. And nowadays with ladies with 40, they're saying 40 is a new 30. If you keep yourself up, of course, there's things biologically that are happening regardless. But you may still be, really active mentally, really wanting to still pursue your dreams, and somebody who's 60 is more thinking about their retirement. And you may be like, hey, you want kids again, and your partner, the male of 60, he's going to be thinking, man, I don't really know if I want to have kids. Hey, if that's what you want, sure. I got myself a young, fine looking thing. Okay, I do what I have to do. But I know I'm not going to really be around for their life. When my child is 20, I'll be 80 years old. So he'll be thinking about those things. Then you as a woman will be thinking, well, I'm 40 now, and I'll be around for my kids. That's fine. So just like thinking about those things. And then also you may want, I just was talking about the babies, because what was coming to mind is like, you're still energetic. that man, he might now be experiencing ED at that age potentially. So you may be having some issues there as well. So these are just some of the drawbacks. Not saying women shouldn't date an older man, but you're thinking in the now. You're thinking while the man is still kind of young. If you're in your late teens, early 20s, mid 20s, up to 30, you're thinking in that age range. Like, you know, he's in the more middle age range. You know, if you're 25, 30, he's getting towards the middle age range, or is middle age, and you're not yet. So there is going to be a difference. And I'm just saying this all to say, because I'm saying this all to say, a lot of people like to speak about it as if it's, you know, such an amazing thing. And, you know, yes, it's possible that the man is going to be mature, but I'll tell you this, because I have a couple different small stories to tell. My husband, he is close to my age. He's about a year and a half older than me, somewhere around there. And I mentioned several times that when I was dating my husband, there were also two other gentlemen that I was dating and, you know, considering in terms of how I wanted to move forward. And the other two, they, at the time, they were about 40, in that age range. And I would say, sure, well, I would say one of them seemed to be pretty mature, and the other one, he seemed mature in certain ways. I feel like when you reach a certain point, you start to realize how you want to stabilize your life and those sorts of things. A lot of men do. So I would say 35 to 40 range. However, I mean, I didn't see something and then that was like, oh, these men are just so mature. The only thing that I would say is like, okay, they seem to be serious, whereas a woman can be serious from her late teens to 25. They just take a bit longer to catch up. Outside of that, you know, when I was in my mid 20s, there was someone who I dated, and he was in kind of that range as well. And I remember just thinking to myself, like, you know, I was just like going about my life like so innocent and so so me. And I didn't even think of the things that I think now at the difference in age. That was probably like 8 years ago. And I didn't even think of those things. And now looking back, I'm like, okay, like, you know, just kind of like, oh, that's just something of your youth, you know. But I wouldn't even have thought of some of the things that men do, or just based on his age. So he definitely had me in that sense, in terms of different games that men play, right? That person, at my age now, if I was still up for dating, I would never date somebody like that. So just me being young, like just thinking, believing people, things that they say. So you young ladies, sometimes you feel like you're very mature, just like I did, and I was mature for my age. However, if you haven't had certain experiences in your life, it's going to be hard for you kind of to decipher when men are lying and things like that. So unless you've had so much dating experience and stuff like that. So I would say, I would recommend, if you're in the American culture. Oh, one other thing. I don't necessarily recommend that young ladies are dating older men. I think it's very good to stick to somebody who's close in your age. Of course, it can depend, you know, but when it starts getting to 15 years and depending on your age, even 10 years, that gets a bit much. You know, maybe you're somebody who's 21 and you met somebody who's 30. Okay, but my thing is, I always think to myself, this is what I always what I always used to think back then when men would approach me and they were older. I would be like, why are they approaching me? Why aren't they approaching someone their own age? Sometimes I would think that. Other times I wouldn't really think much of it, but because they're older, I usually wasn't interested in them. However, that would make me think, what is the reason that they want to talk to you? It's most likely because they see you as kind of dumb, or they think they can control you, or they just think that they can get over on you because maybe the women their age are not going to put up with some of their crap, or not even put up with things, but they're not going to maybe know the things that they're doing, or they just want somebody who looks young. And I always think to myself, if somebody is looking for somebody for their looks and they want somebody who's so young, it's one thing if a man wants children, right? So he's potentially going to try to find a woman that is in the childbearing age. However, I always think to myself, why would a man who is 50 want a woman who's 25? You have to start thinking about those things. He's not mature. If he doesn't want a woman who's at his maturity level, of course, yes, women they mature faster, but a woman who's 25, that's not compatible typically with a 50-year-old. Come on now, like, let's be real. You know, are certain cases where it can work, but for the most part, what is that man after? So that's when it comes to something where it's like, okay, you guys are doing an even exchange. He wants you for your beauty and your youth, and the woman's probably looking at him for his finance, if he has any, something like that, and that's security. So it can be an even exchange. But for the most part, ladies, if you're trying to have a Prince Charming that's based on love, respect, honor, care, be mindful of those things. And also, ladies, if you have any father issues in terms of your father not being around, you wanting a father figure, I would highly recommend you do not date a man that's much older than you, because that's something that's going on there that you need to work through, and that's not going to help you by trying to date somebody who's as old as your father. So what I would say is, ladies, if you are if you're in your late teens, like 18, 19, adult age, through your mid-20s, when you start dating or considering marriage or working on yourself to find someone that will lead to marriage, or for him to find you, really work on yourself during those ages, but also start looking at men who are around you. You may meet somebody in passing if you're in church, if you're in college, things like that. I wouldn't recommend that young ladies do online dating at those ages. You are in a lot of places where there's so many people in your age range in class. That's why I recommend that people, if you can, go to college. It expands your horizons for sure. And let's say you meet somebody in college, that's just better than doing any online dating. Come on, you can meet somebody in passing. I think that's the best method. It's more so when you don't have access to a lot of people in your age range, then people start doing the online dating. So definitely consider that. And we just want to make sure that you are picking a match that's going to be suitable to you in the long run. It's not just about now. Things are going to change, and God knows the things that are going to change with that person later on. And it's just very important. I would say I'll talk more about it in maybe tomorrow's video about the ages and when people should get married. But I'm content when I got married, honestly, just for a certain reason in terms of me being who I am now. So I know that things are going to work out with us just because of my age now and my maturity. But I would say, when you are looking to be married and you feel like you're mature, you're stable, and maybe you didn't go to college, so now you're looking for a spouse when you're like in your late teens, 18, 19 through early 20s, you know, you want to find someone that's maybe close to your age. I would say, ladies, yes, you mature faster than men, so it's okay to date a guy who's a little bit older. Maybe if you're 19, you could date somebody who's up to maybe 24, 25. He should be on your maturity level. Or let's say you're 25, ladies, I would say it's okay to date a man who's 30 through or early 30s is okay for you. 10 years, I would say that's the absolute most, but that can, you know, it could be yay or nay. We don't know, but you're safe when it's within a few years. You know, 7 years, if you're 25 and he's like 32, you might be on the same maturity level, that's okay. Or, you know, 25, 30, 25, 28, when you're 25, he's like 28, or if you're 25, he's 26, if you're 25, he's 25, sure. Or maybe you guys were in the same class, you're like 25, he's 24. Those things are all okay. You know, you guys are going to be able to share the same moments of life together, and you know, yeah, it's gonna work out well in that regard. So I would say, ladies, it's okay to date a man who's older, it is, but you really need to take your time in those cases. Just make sure that the man is not trying to control you. He's not looking for a sugar baby, someone he can just, throw money at and she does everything that he asks, because there is sometimes a power imbalance when that man is way older. Like, I'm talking 15, 20 years. There's going to be some issues when you try to assert yourself and assert your opinion about certain things. They're going to most likely talk about your age. I remember there was somebody that I was talking to when I don't remember my age, maybe early 20s, and the guy was maybe 30, and I remember he had said something about my age, like, oh yeah, it's because you're young. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, then why are you dating me? Why are you trying to get to know me, I should say, not dating. Why are you trying to get to know me when you think I'm too young? Doesn't even make sense. Like, it was like almost like a diss thing. So men will try to do that as well. And I was just like, please, no, it's not even worth my time. When I said early 20s, I was probably like 23, and he was like 30 trying to talk to me. But I always say to myself, there's so many, this is what you need to think about, right? Don't always think about it from your perspective. There's so many ladies who are ready to be married. Why is a 40-year-old man trying to find a 20-year-old lady? There's so many women who are 30. Wait, how old did I say? Yeah, why is a 40-year-old man trying to find a 20-year-old? There's 30-year-olds, 35-year-olds, 38-year-olds, 40-year-old ladies, and ladies can still have children at that age. So I'm surprised that men don't want to find a woman that's at their own age in terms of maturity level. So, and yes, of course, men may want children, and it's okay if maybe a 40-year-old man is looking at a 30-year-old lady, but why is a 40-year-old man looking at a 20-year-old? Of course, it can work in certain situations, but for the most part, it just makes me give them the side eye, because you're old enough to be the father of that young girl. Yes, I said a young girl. And think about it. Let's say a 40-year-old man has a 20-year-old daughter. Let's say he's no longer with the mother. Is he going to be checking that 20-year-old daughter's friends, trying to date them? Come on now. And would that 40-year-old man want his 20-year-old daughter to date someone his age? No, probably not. And because he knows that there's that power imbalance. So ladies, I say this is not to discourage you from dating older men, but it is to discourage you from dating men who are way older than you. So if you're 19, 20, 21, watching this, 18, 22, 23, just take it from someone who has seen a lot of different things and, has seen, I'm at an age now where I've interacted with a lot of different people, a lot of different age ranges, to see that are men way more mature when they're 40, 50, 60? I'll be honest with you, no, they're not. They're not. Are, for the most part, are they a little bit more mature? A little bit more mature than they were when they were 20? Yes. But are the benefits to dating a man who's that much older worth it? Do the benefits outweigh the drawbacks? I would say no, because the drawbacks are he may not have the same interest in having relations with you when you're married. He may have more power than you, way more experience in terms of life, and you would maybe on different levels as your body breaks down with age, and the reasons that he may be after you may not be the best. It may not be necessarily for your mind. It may be only for your appearance. And yes, in the Bible, there were men who went after ladies for their looks. But if that's what you're not interested in, I would urge you to maybe consider men who are closer in age. And I would say that would be up to a max of, it depends on how old you are, so I can't necessarily give a max amount, but like I said, if you're 18, 19, maybe you can date somebody up to 24, 25 max, or somebody who's around your age, maybe 1 year younger than you. But I'm not saying it doesn't happen. There are many ladies who end up finding a man who's way younger, but I'm not talking about men that are younger. I'm talking more about the men who are older. Okay, so keep that in mind. In addition, yeah, that would be for another video, the about a woman who's dating a man who's way younger. However, so ladies, I know sometimes we think we know so much, we think that we're so ready to date, but you don't want a man who's that immature that he feels he needs to date a woman who's way younger. And I mentioned like the 18, 19, 20, 21 age. Even if you're 25, I would urge you to reconsider dating a man who is 40, because you may be on a good path, you may be doing well, but that's just in terms of the breakdown of the body later on in life. And you're gonna have to probably be his caretaker potentially. 15 is 20, I would say don't do it, ladies. 10, that just depends on maturity and who the guy is. You have to really analyze and take your time in that instance. And 50, it's a no for me as well, but 20 is heck no. 15 is too much as well. Yeah, so just keep that in mind. I'm just thinking about everything, ladies. Just thinking how things happen and how we think a certain way when we're younger. And just looking back, you know exactly why those men are after younger ladies. They don't want to deal with women their age who have more maturity and who, have different life experiences than maybe someone that's younger and fresher. So keep that in mind. You may think you're interested with somebody who's 40 when you're 22, but you may not be interested in that person when you're 40. You may feel that there's a difference there. Now I'm 40. He is, what did I say? He is 58 now, and there may be a difference there as well. You may want to still go out and have fun, and he may have a completely different energy level. So those are my reasonings, and let me know if you have any questions. Hope you have a blessed day. Bye-bye.